Welcome to Six Pennies Podcast. Today we are going to talk about time travel. We had an awesome podcast a couple months ago, about Lost, and
Man,
we had
what a show.
We had a few people, Titus, who were not happy about our podcast about Lost, but it was a lot of time travel in there, and we thought, there's a lot of great time travel movies. And so we wanted to share with you guys some of our favorites, some things we liked and disliked about time travel movies. You guys ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Albie, why don't you throw one out? Tell us one of your favorite time travel movies.
I would say any movie with Tom Cruise is already good.
Of course.
If you throw in time travel with Tom Cruise, then it's a wrap at that point. And if you guys don't know, I'm talking about Edge of Tomorrow with him and Emily Blunt. And I feel like that movie, I think it came out in 2014, is one of the most underrated movies of the year. And I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. I think their chemistry together was awesome. And it was just cool to see Tom Cruise going back into battle over and over and over again.
I will admit, even though I'm not a big Tom Cruise guy at all, but Edge of Tomorrow was very enjoyable.
Did you guys? Do you guys like Emily Blunt? Did you like her before or
No.
just after that?
I
You didn't? I love Emily Blunt.
I like her now after that movie, but before, no. I didn't even really care who she was, but then when I saw her, when I watched her performance, I'm a fan now, and I think they're coming out with a sequel, right?
Are they?
Oh, wow, that'd be interesting. Is she still married to Jim from The Office?
Jim Halpert.
Nice.
Jim Halpert. Albie, did we watch Edge of Tomorrow together? I'm trying to figure this out. I know it was in 2014, and you came to LA. Did we watch that together?
I think we did, but it wasn't my first time, because my first time was in the theaters.
I know. I think we watched it in the theater.
Oh. Wait,
man, I gotta do some searches.
Wait, we watched movies in the theater together?
Yeah, we've done that once or twice. Didn't we watch? We watched that movie and we watched Godzilla.
No, dude, we watched Batman with Mark.
Batman? No, that's a long time ago. That's in 2010. I'm talking.
Hey, we watched all three of us watched the Simpsons movie together.
I've never seen the Simpsons movie.
Wait, what? It was in LA.
Never seen the Simpsons movie.
I think that was in San Antonio, Mark.
Oh man, this podcast is unraveling.
It's because we're trying to time travel in real time, and it's too hard.
Mark, why don't you tell me one of your favorites?
Okay, one of my favorites, and the reason why Ashton Kutcher is pretty high up there on my list is The Butterfly Effect.
Nice.
It's actually very high up there on my top 10 favorite movies of all time. And I love movies that really make you think. So movies that are good for me, you're still thinking about the movie 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks later after you watch it. And for me, this was Butterfly Effect. It messed with my mind. I'm one thing that I would go back to, what would I change? How would that affect the rest of my life? Just got me really philosophical, I guess.
Yeah, you were obsessed with that movie in college. Because I didn't go to I didn't go to UT, so I was in California, but we would talk on AOL all the time, and I just remember that being on your away message, a butterfly thingy. I was like, man, this guy is obsessed.
Yeah, man, I went back to read some old journals, man.
That's a good one. One of my favorite time travel movies that is probably not one that is regularly brought up is this movie called Frequency. It came out, I think, in 99 or 2000. It has Dennis Quaid and the guy who plays Jesus in The Passion, Jim Caviezel. And I watched that in the theater with my dad. And I remember it was so great because it's about a guy trying to find his dad who's passed away or something, and just keeps going back and forth. I remember being really pleasantly surprised about that movie. But more importantly, I did some research on Google Hangouts to find out about Edge of Tomorrow.
Nice.
And first thing that came up is a G chat I had with Albie that says, Do you think Edge of Tomorrow would have been better if we had a bigger flask with us? so we so we definitely went to the theater, had a little to drink while we were watching it, and enjoyed it together.
That's awesome, man.
Albie, why don't you give me another one of your favorites?
So I don't think this movie is mentioned very often either. I think it was maybe nominated for an Academy Award when it came out, but I really liked Midnight in Paris with Owen Wilson and Rachel McAdams. I'm not
Really?
a yeah, I'm not a big like literature buff, but it was cool just like seeing these characters on the screen like Ernest Hemingway and Picasso and all these guys like hanging out and just having a good time in Paris. I honestly can't tell you the ending of that movie because I forgot. It's very forgettable, but it was cool to see Paris in that light, in that like rainy light, and just flashing back to the 20s and how life was back then. So, Midnight in Paris.
All right, Mark. What about you? Give me another one.
I'm gonna go with another movie in my top 10 of all time. That's Interstellar.
Nice.
I love this movie. It's kind of like how Albert you are whenever someone says anything bad about American Airlines. Whenever anyone says anything bad about Interstellar and how it didn't make sense and how it was just all came down to love or whatever, I come in right away and I'm really defensive about this movie. It was just it was unexpectedly good for me. And I went in with such high expectations already because of Nolan being the producer and all that, but it was incredible.
How can people say bad things about Interstellar? Like,
Like they're like it all came down like love is like I can't remember what the biggest criticism was, but I don't know.
Did you understand?
Chill out.
Did you understand the end of the movie like right away when you watched it?
I think so, but then I went in and so this is definitely along the same lines. Like I went back and I was reading up and thinking about the movie for like the next 6 weeks after that as well, and yeah, so did a lot of research about just the time, what is that called, time space continuum, and all that stuff, and followed a bunch of random people like scientists on Twitter, like the NASA guy. What's the guy's name? I followed him like that. This was the point where I followed him because he started talking about the movie and what made sense about it and what was kind of off. But yeah, he kind of got on my bad side as well.
How'd you guys feel about Matt Damon in that movie and his role?
I think he was underutilized.
I just wanted to like punch him in the face, man. Like, gosh.
He was perfectly utilized though. Like that was very unexpected. I didn't expect to see him in that movie, and the scenes where he was in, like, big impact. But yeah, I definitely want to punch him in the face.
I mean, underutilized as in like he's normally the star of the movie and like first build, and it was a little surprising to see him there. One of my other favorites that I really enjoy was Source Code with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh.
Oh.
Did you guys see that movie?
Yeah, that's a great movie.
I think that's maybe his best movie.
He's been in a lot of good movies, and some bad ones, but Source Code is where he is like on a train and he is trying to solve some bomb or some sort of I think it's a bombing, and it just keeps going back around and around until he solves it. So it's pretty much the plot of Edge of Tomorrow.
Very
but
similar.
It's good. I really enjoyed it. One of the other ones that I really liked that I watched recently was Deja Vu, which is a Denzel Washington movie, and
A-lister.
A-lister Denzel Washington, last one at the Laker game, and Paula Patton is very beautiful in that movie. And we watched it, I think, on Netflix maybe like a few weeks ago, and it was great. It's not that much time travel as it is like looking in the past and just going. I guess it is time travel actually. All right, do you guys have any others that you really like?
Yeah, I mean, to go back, to time travel back, if you will, to Interstellar, a funny anecdote about that movie. So I watched it with our friend Hal in the theaters, and it was actually just a week or two after he had his first daughter, after his first daughter was born. So if you don't know about that movie, it's about Matthew McConaughey as the father, and basically trying to save the world or get back to his daughter. And I just remember watching in the theaters with Hal, and he got really, really emotional. And I've never seen him that emotional. He's like, and the only thing he said was like, dude, the dad daughter scenes, man. I was like, dang, you've changed. So Interstellar, that was very impactful for me, just because seeing one of my best friends get emotional in the theaters. And then another movie that I think needs to be mentioned here is Back to the Future. It might be the best time travel movie ever. And I remember I've seen this movie, all parts of it, part 1, 2, and 3, like multiple times. But I remember visiting Mock in Houston one time, and it was just randomly playing on TV, and I was just like wondering why Mock was so like fascinated, so interested in the movie, because I thought like at that point, this was like just a year ago, I think, so 2016.
2 years, yeah.
And at that point, I thought like everyone has seen this movie before, but he was in it and like paying attention, even though there were commercials, which I hate when you watch movies on TV. But it's because he had never seen it before, and I was like, "What?" That was so crazy to me. Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely my first time. It was 2 years ago. And, yeah, I was doing it kind of as a research project because, so if my wife Ophelia, she loves Back to the Future, so I was planning like a birthday party for her for her 30th birthday, and it's going to be Back to the Future themed. So I was doing like my research. I guess I was like, okay, I guess I should finally watch this series, and it was. I don't know where I was or back at 20 years ago. I don't know why I hadn't seen it before, but it was so good.
That's pretty embarrassing, Mark.
Really quotable, yeah.
It's a great movie, and it's stood the test of time, no pun intended. But it's been great, even very rewatchable, even up to the past few years. And I really liked Back to the Future 2. Albie, what is like the ranking of the 3 movies?
I think 2 is up there, but.
Yeah, 1 is the best though.
Yeah,
right?
you can't really surpass the original number 1.
Yeah.
So do you think Mock not watching Back to the Future is worse or on the same level as him not watching the Rocky series?
I would probably say Back to the Future.
Yeah,
but it's all pretty bad. I mean, Mock, you got some work to do, man.
I'm just a late bloomer, man. Like, I just watched Star Wars a few years ago, and so I'm making my way through. I'm making my way through the list. Star Wars, and then I need Growing Pains, and then and I guess Friday Night Lights eventually.
All right. Any other ones you guys want to mention? Mock, you have any others?
Yeah, let me just give a quick shout out. Going back to TV a little bit. So I think there's just something about time travel and TV series that I can't get enough of, even though the show was really bad. And so right now, the only show, well, me and my wife, we watched 2 shows together. One is This Is Us, which is amazing. The other one is Timeless, which is really bad.
You told us about this on our TV pod.
Yeah, but we're still keeping with it. And Timeless, it just brings back a lot of memories of Lost. And Lost being, one of the top 5 TV shows of all time.
True.
Yeah, so
Mock wasn't on the Lost pod. Tell us whatever you want about Lost, and then we'll send this over to Titus.
Titus, I don't want to get on his bad side too much, but he knows exactly how I feel about Lost. I think he was kind of upset with me for a while after that podcast where I said it was top 5. But Lost, man, so your comment earlier about Jim Caviezel really got me thinking, because he reminds me a lot of Jack. Yeah. Do you think Lost would have been better with Caviezel in there? Or Albert, at least, do you think you would have hated Jack less if it was Caviezel instead of whoever that guy's name was?
No, I just hate Jack Shepard's character. So no matter who was playing, outside, maybe if it was like Damon or Tom Cruise, but outside of those two, then yeah, there's no way I could like that character. I'm John Locke for sure, man, all the way.
Yeah, Matthew Fox, the character, the actor. I don't think it's like his fault. It's more the way they wrote the character. Even though I am not as big a hater as Albie is about that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for joining the Six Pennies podcast, and please let us know if we left out any great time travel movies. And yeah, thanks for joining. And please give us a like on Facebook and follow us on YouTube.